the assignment. So that's what we're going to do today, talk about the assignment. So with that in mind then, let me just confirm then. I am under the belief then that you all have maybe or maybe not read it, but you all certainly know that it is there and that you've at least opened it and you know the assignment exists and you know where it is and it's all in Blackboard and you realize that it is there, right? Am I correct here?
Yes, Professor.
I am correct? Okay.
Yes, Professor, you are correct.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay. And that all worked okay, right? From the assignment perspective, you found it okay, times, all that kind of stuff, all good, right? I made it available for 9 o'clock this morning. So it was set to unveil and be available at that time, right? So we're all good, right? Good.
Yes, Professor, you are good. Thank you.
Thank you. So in the very detailed, and I'm pulling it out here and I'm looking at my printed version of it. In the detailed instructions, of course, you know that there are 2 documents here, right? There's detailed 3-page set of instructions, an information package, if you will, and then there's the actual deliverable here, the personnel evaluation form. 2 things, 2 items here. So you will know then that in the information package then that there is a fairly somewhat realistically based scenario that I developed, all with a view to trying to inject you into the role of a junior manager decision maker who is responsible for people, right? The essence of leadership, being responsible for people. Of which you have 5 within your team. And that, of course, was a temporary configuration designed to achieve a particular result. So, you know that is there, and it's all pretty straightforward and detailed there. And of course, within that, you see that you'll see several key things, right? You will see then that there is that table of the team members, which has indicated in it their education level. And of course, from that, you know, we think about that and we say, okay, well, that sort of implies a particular skill set, right? Based on their educational qualifications that are indicated there. Superimposed, you know, we have differing ages here of your team members that you are responsible for. And which, by the way, I mean, when you graduate, I mean, that sometimes is a bit of an issue, right? I mean, all of a sudden, you're a team member or you're responsible for a group of people, yeah? And very often you have people who are substantially older with more experience working for you, right? So yeah, it can be a little unnerving sometimes, right? But, you know, so at any rate, that is reflected here. We see their sex is indicated there. Seniority, again, sort of speaking to, you know, you can gain insights and draw conclusions from their level of experience indicated by the seniority. And of course, given the fact that this is essentially a team that was formed to achieve some business, i.e. marketing objectives, you decided to assign each of the members key domains of focus that it just so happens you decided to break down into the 4 major P's, right? Which makes sense, right? You have one person looking into that major domain and then another person into the other P and so on and so forth, with one looking into CRM. So that's the way that you essentially decided to initially engage your people. So, of course, you can look into that and sort of make assertions about that. Is there an appropriate mix of people? Uh, do their tasks relate to their qualifications, their educational level? Something to think about there. What about the time, their seniority? Does that play into potentially their performance? These are things to consider. Yeah, it's all about leadership, right? So these are key things to consider. So yeah, we have that in the instruction. So therefore, as I was saying, you are required then to complete that essential deliverable, which is the personnel evaluation sheet. And so in that, it essentially is comprised of three major components. We have a quantitative assessment table component there, where you are required to rate each of the members on a scale of 1 to 10 along some key criteria here that are indicated. So you have that quantitative kind of element. And then superimposed on that, there's the second major domain, which is the overall assessment of the team. Here you're looking at your team more collectively, right? What about the composition? It relates to some of the points that I had just mentioned with regard to their qualifications, what they're tasked to do, et cetera, et cetera. So you can make insights into that. And you can look at the individual criteria also and how the overall team did on those criteria also. That's another level of analysis, right? So you can take it in a variety of ways, but those are some of the things to think about there. Again, here you're looking at more of the collective of your team. And then, of course, as you drill into it in more detail, you get back to some substantiation and comments regarding the individual team members for the third part there. So that is indicated there, and that's what you are required to do. So, like I said, you're thinking about qualifications, you're thinking about experience, you're thinking about the diversity of your team here based on the aforementioned aspects such as educational levels and what they're tasked to do and their potential abilities and strengths and weaknesses that you can make assertions about. I just have a series of points here that I had captured that I just want to make sure that I impart to you. And I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So please bear with me as I just very carefully refer to these notes that I made. Yeah, so I mean, you look at what the five folks in your team are tasked to do. Doesn't make sense based on the education. Is it good? Do the qualifications match the task and that kind of a thing? Which, by the way, let me tell you, as somebody who has been a practicing leader manager for decades in my former life, and as somebody who has spent decades writing personnel evaluations and leading people, let me tell you, one of the essential components of effective leadership, I believe, is to ensure that your people are appropriately tasked. In other words, it's your real desire then, in terms of effective leadership, to put the right person in the right job at the right time, right? Now, very often you won't have control over that, but when you do, ultimately that's what you seek to do. You want to do that, right? You want to set up your people for success. That's the key thing, right? You want to do that. So you want to make sure that there's a match between between personnel and tasks and what you require them to do. And by the way, just as an aside, it's critically important also that, as I have always said for years and years and years, that, whenever you're engaged in leadership and you give people tasks to do, you also have to ensure that there are associated resources for them to apply to the task and the work that you want them to do. As I have always said, a tasking without corresponding resources is merely a suggestion. So you have to be cognizant of that. You can't tell somebody and direct somebody to achieve X, Y, Z and not give them the necessary resources with which to execute that direction, right? So that is just another tip that you can take with you moving forward after you leave university and that. So yeah, I mean, you have a whole bunch of notes that you very fastidiously and appropriately and appropriately took during the 7-month period. You took notes of the performance of your people, which is a good thing. And as you synthesize those notes and you look at things and you try in your mind to create these personas of the individuals and you create in your mind how they performed, you should be asking yourself, well, is it good? Why did they perform this way? Could they improve? How can they improve? Should I switch things around? So you're always asking. A good, efficient, and effective leader is always asking him or herself these kind of questions, right? Furthermore, another important notion here, again, which I contend is exceptionally important in leadership and performance appraisal, is to be completely objective. One has to set one's feelings and biases, and we all have biases, and it is not a dirty word. We all have biases, but one has to set those biases aside and look at performance objectively when engaged in performance appraisal. So let me give you an example. Over the years, and this spans multiple decades, of thousands of people over the years that I have had working for me, there have been a few, luckily very few, instances of my subordinates, uh, onesies and twosies here and there, that frankly, for a variety of reasons, I did not like. Maybe they were just real dicks, frankly. But I really did not like them. And but you know what? And I can think of some of these instances in my mind. You know what? When it came time for their yearly performance evaluation reports and the process leading up to those reports, I fought very hard to attain very high rankings for some of these guys. And although I didn't particularly like them as people, I, wrote exceptionally high, outstanding levels of performance on some of these guys, right? So my point here is that I set aside these kinds of likes, dislikes kind of notion and focused on objective assessment. And that is critical. One has to exercise, when one is in a leadership position, one has to exercise that mental discipline and do so. And that's very important in order to successfully achieve the mission at hand, let me tell you. So that is critically important. Furthermore, when one is, leading a group of people, and I could talk for the next 2 hours on leadership, by the way, but I will spare you this. But in group dynamics, it is critically important to avoid what we might call group think. And it's important to avoid sort of the echo chamber phenomenon that exists sometimes, right? In any kind of a group, I believe you have to have that type of diversity of thought, and you have to have different personality types also. You have to have, and I'm speaking generally here, but generally, you want to have, the guys, some folks that are very, very fastidious. They're hard workers. There's this attention to detail. They can go through things. They can double check. They check things out. Very, very detailed oriented. So you want to have that piece. You want to have another person who is very, exceptionally forward thinking and conceptually thinking, and that can bring those kind of visionary kind of ideas into the team. You want that too. You also want to have, somebody who is, someone who, by virtue of their personality, plays, as we say, devil's advocate. You can say one thing, but they'll sort of jump on the opposite end and bring out constructive points. Hopefully, they're constructive, opposing that kind of thinking or direction that you might be going on. So it's important, again, that you bring out and you facilitate that kind of an environment whereby those naysayers and those people, are at ease coming to you and voicing their potential concern or voicing the soft points associated with a plan that you might have or something, right? So it's important that they do that. Of course, from their perspective, it's important. Yes, you set that up and you need to be approachable and you need to enable that, but you need to, from their perspective, they need to do it at the right time, at the right place, right? Preferably one-on-one generally. And so hopefully they will avoid any potential embarrassment and that kind of thing. So that's an important thing too. But at any rate, my point here is that you want to, in a group, avoid that kind of very dangerous group think kind of phenomenon that occurs sometimes, And so you want to, and I've always been particularly attuned to this, and it always has rubbed me the wrong way myself. And that is, invariably you always have these people who are, to say it politely, very much yes men. They're yes men. You could say, the sky is purple, and they'll say, yes, sir, absolutely, yes, sir, it is. Yep, absolutely. Yes, yeah, you're right, absolutely, it is purple. When in actual fact, it's blue. So yeah, you want to avoid, if you can, or at least be attuned to these people who are basically brown nosers, these people who are yes men, these people who are basically let me be rude for a little while, or these people who are kind of ass kissers. You want to avoid that kind of a thing, because there are plenty of people around who, for their own personal advancement, will see that the way to succeed is purely to agree with the boss, right? And these people, they won't say a word without first, determining what they think the boss wants to hear, right? So yeah, you have to be careful of the yes men, because they generally are not overly constructive. So you have to be careful of that. But at any rate, you need to adopt that kind of approach, I believe, in terms of leadership. And another point actually that comes to mind that I think is worth mentioning, and that is, your subordinates will always forgive you if you're not the best, the fastest, the smartest, the brightest, the quickest. They will forgive you for that. But one thing that they will never ever forgive you for in a leadership role is if you claim to be something that you are not and fail. They will never ever forgive you for that, you know. So you must always be very authentic and honest with your subordinates, right? Because they can see through any kind of facade and BS story that you might try to put out. So one must always be very authentic and genuine and honest with your subordinates, right? Because a failure to do that will result in failure overall, I would suggest. So anyway, these are just a few things and again, I could talk for the next 2 days on all these points. At any rate, um, getting back to the task at hand, though, I will remind you of a couple of key points that are indicated in the instructions. First of all, in the words that you write, the words that you produce, you must not exceed 300 words. That is your cap. 300 words, no more, not one word more than 300 words. So this poses a little bit of a problem, right? It poses a little bit of an issue for you. You know, if you have this amount of information that you need to convey, how do you do it, right? How do you do it? Well, it's a very, very important exercise to take that amount of information and condense it down into what really counts and then convey it. And basically, that's something that I always struggle with because I'm very verbose when I'm writing and that kind of a thing, right? So I'm always trying to, you know, uh, condense and condense and condense and condense and take out words and try to finesse it into a very dense kind of a product, you know. So I mean, it's something that we always struggle for. So we, you know, have to be cognizant of that, you know. So there's that word count that is at play. What's going on here in the thing here? 300 words for the, well, I just said that, didn't I? Didn't I just say that? I said that 300 word maximum for the words that you produce here in fulfillment of this requirement. That's just what I said. Is that not clear to you? I see the last two comments there. 300 words for the overall. I thought I was being clear. I think I just already answered that, frankly. So 300 words. Yes, and also, you know, another important thing is that we always need to pay close attention to detail also. So we want to make sure that the form is completely filled out and filled out perfectly, right? We're looking for that, right? There's nothing that upsets me more than seeing sloppy, uh, you know, poorly completed work. I hate seeing sloppiness, you know, and we should always strive to be people of excellence and strive to do what I think perfect work, right? I'm a perfectionist, to be honest, and I look for perfection. I want perfection, right? And I push people to try to, you know, be their best. So it's important to uh, produce good work and not sloppy, half-assed work. So I urge you to do good work always and not be sloppy. So that's what we want to do here. Yeah, we want to be people of excellence, like I always say, right? We don't want to be a bunch of yardbirds, you know, scratching around in the sand outside for the odd seed here and there. We want to be people of excellence and do good work, you know, and strive for that perfection, given, of course, constraints that exist, right? We have to do the best that we humanly can do within the constraints that exist, right? Which is tough, right? But, you know, one of the things that, you know, I always used to say in my past life is that, you know, a 95% solution on time is better than a 100% solution late. So we always have to be cognizant of time and be on time and on target, right? So that's critically important. Which brings me to my next point then. Of course, I mean, I always try to strive for the 100% solution on time, by the way. But anyway, which brings me to my next point, and that is this assignment is due on Friday at 2 p.m. Okay, so make sure you clearly understand that. The deadline, and I encourage you to submit it beforehand, by the way, but the deadline is 2 p.m. So make sure that you meet that timing. I'm not interested in a whole bunch of excuses why it didn't work, and I'm not interested in, you know, I couldn't because of blah, blah, blah. No, I tried to, blah, blah, blah. And I tried this and I tried. I'm not interested in hearing anything like that. The deadline is 2 p.m. Friday, period. Anything after that will automatically receive a 0, period. So just a word on ethics here. This, by the way, and this is something I really feel very strongly about, because I am all about honesty and integrity and character. And make no mistake, I will be looking for these kind of aspects here, namely, I don't want to see any collaborative efforts. This is an individual effort to be completed 100% solo, non-collaboratively. So this is an individual effort. And we, Kyle and I, my TA and I, will be looking for this kind of thing. So do not at all violate this direction. I'm telling you right here and now, it's written in the thing. Don't compromise your personal ethics and don't be dishonest and don't illustrate dishonesty by violating this ethical direction, namely that it is an individual effort, okay? Don't do that and don't tarnish yourself as being a dishonest person, okay? Because that's a bad, bad thing. And I have no time for dishonesty, nor do I have any time for liars and cheats either, by the way. So don't do that. So you can think of this assignment then, as I had mentioned to you, as being part of the final exam. And conceptually then you can think of this assignment as being a take-home component of the final exam. Final exam is worth what? 40%. And this component is worth 5%. And the remaining component, which you will write on the, what is it again? The 10th of December, then is worth 35%. Okay, for a total of 40% final exam. So that's how you can conceptualize this in terms of grades. So, is there anything else I should add? Yeah, so I just wanted to convey some key things to you, and in so doing, I wanted to sort of verbally explain to you the nature of this assignment. And in so doing, I wanted to sort of, from an old guy that has a lot of experience in leadership, I wanted to sort of convey a few points that I hope will serve you well moving forward outside of this course. So yeah, and so therefore next class, next time we meet, will be on the 29th of November, where we will be talking about future trends in marketing. And again, I am astounded by how time has flown. It's flown so quickly. It seems like yesterday when we started our journey into marketing, right, together on the 20th of September. And so, yeah, coming to an end, right? Which is too bad. I've enjoyed you guys immensely. On a personal note, I've enjoyed you guys tremendously. Enjoyed this class and my MOM students. I always enjoy my MOM students. Good bunch, so it's all good. So at any rate, I'll certainly open up the floor if you are, uncertain of anything. Don't hesitate to let me know. I stand ready to answer any questions or solidify any uncertain points or anything that you might be unsure of. So don't hesitate to ask. Ashkan, you're first out of the gate. Go ahead.
Hi, Professor. Okay, so I can see the last point of the criteria is initiative. What does it refer to exactly? Is that being pioneer, self-start, and volunteer at work?
Well, what do you think initiative means?
I think it's like to do self-start things, like to take actions first of all, like before other people do that. Is that right?
come up with key ideas and that kind of a thing. That's my understanding of
Okay,
initiative also.
good, gotcha.
Self-starter,
Mhm.
that kind of a thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. Are you a self-starter, Ashkan?
I try to.
How would you rate yourself on initiative?
Out of 50, right?
No,
Or
no,
out of
out of
10?
10.
Out of 10?
One? Would you give yourself a one?
Oh.
Or would it be a negative 10?
No. Maybe 8
I'm
or
just
9. Yeah.
I'm just joking. Okay, good. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah, you're right. That's what initiative is.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. How about quality of work, Ashkan? What would you give yourself for quality of work? What would you give yourself there?
The quality of work, actually, I would say 10. Yeah.
10? Oh,
Without any
wow. Look at
hesitation. Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. How about collaborative? Are you a collaborative guy?
With with customers or with my group members, with my team.
How about both?
With customers, yes, I would say 10, and with my group members, maybe 9. Yeah,
Okay. Very good. Okay, I'll stop teasing you. Very good. Very good. That's good.
that's fine.
Okay. Very good.
But the situation will be different in Black Friday, Professor. Yeah, we have to
Yeah.
get we have to get
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you working on Black Friday?
full shift, 10 hours,
10
more than
hours.
8
Eh?
hours. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Busy day, eh?
Yes, it's really busy.
Oh, really? I mean, why does it have to be busy? I mean, Best Buy has already disseminated all of their their deals and their Black Friday deals anyway, right? I mean, you could go in right now and take advantage of them. Are they holding out any, excuse me, are they holding out any potential Black Friday deals for the day or what?
They may have on certain products, but this is not really, they didn't clarify that by that day. But yeah, like majority of customers doesn't know that we have this kind of policy. And then again, we will have some heavy traffic at the store. So just they want to predict and expect this kind of traffic. So the time that we open is at 8 in that day, and the
I
closing
see.
is 9. Yes.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Have you gotten your shifts yet for the Christmas, Boxing Day, all that kind of stuff yet, or no?
No, not yet. The shifts, they just release the shifts in 2 weeks in advance.
Oh, do they? 2 weeks.
2 weeks,
Hmm.
yes.
Mhm. Does that work well for you? Are you happy with that?
With my shifts or with
No, with
working
that
in the.
two week notice?
Yeah, that's fine.
Hmm.
That's good.
Do you have flexibility to swap shifts with your coworkers or no?
Yes, we have. So
Yeah.
the only thing that we require to do is to go to Workday website, and then we will write which day of the month we are not going to go there or we are absent. So it asks about time off, paid time off, or without paying. Then when
Hmm.
you fill out the form, they will give you time off in that specified day. Maybe they will switch to another person.
I see.
Yeah, but it
Hmm.
has the flexibility even about the lunchtime. So sometimes you can switch between the co-workers. If you want to go later, if you want to go earlier, that's okay.
Hmm. Oh well. Good. Good, Ashkan. Good. Interesting. By the way, if you happen to see any of those Sony noise reducing headphones, specifically the WHX910N, going on sale, anything less than $199, please let me know.
You got it for okay, sure. You got it for $100, right?
Hey, no, I spent 199 on it. Yeah,
Oh,
200
199.
bucks.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, 199. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sure.
So I'm gonna keep an eye open throughout Boxing Day and that, and if I see it drop in price, which I doubt, but if I do see it, I'll be running into Best Buy and saying, "Hey, how about a refund?"
That's fine.
Which I did do, by the way. Which I did do. Um, I think it was on Boxing Day or the day after Boxing Day or whatever of this year, actually, or thereabouts, last Christmas time frame. Because last year at this time frame, let me stop the recording here because this is